ISIS now threatening workers in the U.S. The CEO of Twitter saying the Islamic militants are sending them death threats for shutting down their accounts. Gary B., should private companies be in the business of stopping terrorists, or is this all the government's job?
I think it's the government's job. Look, who at Twitter or Facebook or any of the other Instagram wants to put their employees in harm's way? That's the big thing. Certainly wouldn't want any harm or death on my watch if I was the CEO or president of one of those companies. But more importantly, you know, we talked about this a few weeks ago. Don't we want these ISIS people out in the open? We don't want them hiding. I want to be able to track their messages through whatever organizations we have in the government. Look, I'm not a fan of big government, as you well know, but I think this is the case for government to step in. I mean, if there was Twitter back in World War II and we had known about the concentration camps months, years before they actually started killing Jews there, I think we would have been a lot more effective in eradicating the Nazi threat.
But Tracy, one of the issues is that government is using these accounts to get intelligence, and that's why they may not be so willing to step in.
And Twitter has filed a Freedom of Information Act saying, I'm sorry, everyone has their First Amendment rights. So Twitter's kind of on both sides of the fence here with this. On one hand, they're saying, no, the government has no right to come in and figure out what these guys are doing. On the other hand, they are now receiving these death threats, and they have to protect their employees. I'm with Gary on this. Twitter, Facebook, they don't have the manpower to protect their people. That is exactly where this becomes a governmental issue.
Jonas, what do you think? I mean, we know, actually, we don't know how far ISIS is willing to go.
I'd like to think the government can use all this information on the internet and go out and track and go after people. I also think keeping information off the internet's not going to work very well. It'll pop up somewhere else. On the other hand, Google, you know, removed all the nude pictures from the celebrities that were hacked off the phone. So they're going to do that because that's an outrage, but they're not going to stop all the Twitter stuff and the chats from all the terrorists. So I don't know. I don't want to put the burden of danger on these poor billionaire CEOs of these companies. However, I think it's the government's job to actually do the interdiction and go after these terrorists and put themselves in the line of fire.
John?
I agree with Gary B. in principle, and Jonas made the same point about a month ago on this very show, that if you'd have had this in World War II, we'd have seen what's going on in those concentration camps. I think the one thing that is over the line is when you show an actual beheading, you show an actual death. I think that is much too gruesome, and I really think you're showing a crime scene that has no business. Some of these blurred out pictures, I think, exposes the fact about how bad these guys are. This is also a recruiting tool, which I abhor being on the internet, but the government has said they use this to spot and find these guys and kill them, and that's one of the reasons they leave them up a lot longer than they'd like to. That part I'm very much in favor of.
Chuck?
There's a couple points I want to make. The first one is there's a difference between U.S. citizens who are trying to join these groups and people who sit in other countries. Certain American citizens, all of us have inalienable rights and under the Constitution and free speech protection and all of that good stuff. Putting the beheadings and those things to the side because there's no room for that and no Constitution to somebody putting up a beheading. The second point I want to make is you're all already being tracked. I do politics for a living. I run campaigns. As soon as you click on the internet, I put a cookie on your computer, and we watch everything that you do. That's how we know what to mail you. We know what TV ads to give you. We know what.
Chuck, I knew it.
You know who John Latham is watching on the internet. We want to know what to say. We know to sell John Latham cowboy boots, and we know Gary B. to get him something to try to get his house sold. Something has to be out there so we know. Let's track these guys and give them a big present right in their lap and make it a big bomb.
But Chuck, if you could do it, how come the government is not? If it is as simple as you say, why have they not gotten more of a handle on this? And I think this is where the fine line comes in. As John said, they're recruiting by the second, it feels like.
Yep,
and they're
absolutely.
out there, and they keep doing this. But if it's that simple, we should be able to take care of this faster than we are.
Scary business. Okay, thanks, guys.